We talk DGA discs, and you're just gonna have to tell me to stop. I mean, we could talk those until midnight. Like it's a passion.
I'll be honest, I'm new to the DGA game. I started throwing the Quake. I really liked it. I was throwing rocks, but it was a 2018 Ledgestone Quake. So it was a different kind of plastic. It had a different kind of look to it. I can't remember exactly. You probably got one laying around.
Was it this one? This one was the oh no, this is GMC from this year, but this is
No,
the Swirl Quake
it had it was
2018.
it was 2018.
That was before my time, actually. I
I
haven't
could
seen
go
one of those.
grab it. It's actually downstairs in my bag. I
Do
could
it.
go grab it. All right, we're doing it.
Disc show and tell. I'll be here.
That feels really good. Oh, yes.
All right, so I'm gonna have to smack myself on the hand on camera.
Okay. Do it.
It was the 2020 Ledgestone.
Ah, nice. Perfect. More familiar. Oh yeah, the Granite Quake.
Yes, the granite. I cannot remember what it was called.
Those I heard literally just today. A buddy said better KC Pro rock. The Granite Quake.
That's exactly the way I felt. It's it's a firm plastic. It's got the same kind of rock feel, but
This is probably top 5 intimate moments on video shoots.
feels like it's smooth when it comes off the hand. It just comes off the hand very nice. I really thank you, Casey, for losing this and giving it to me. I appreciate that. Shout out Casey Trudeau.
I love how the Granite and D-line Quakes. I remember when those came out really close to each other and people freaked out. I mean, it's just like because the ProLiner SP Quakes are beefcakes, but those are actually they're a lot straighter than these. I mean, they're both still overstable, but it's cool to see the different flights with just the different plastics that you can get.
I've started throwing some squalls. Honestly, I found a friend's squall in a pond. Someone pulled it out of a pond at a course called Deep Creek Dreams in Burlington. Shout out Ross. And I was like, hey, I know this guy. I'm going to grab his disc. I'm going to return it to him because I see him all the time. He's like 15 miles away. And someone's like, hey, this guy moved to the beach. And I live in the Piedmont of North Carolina. And I was like, oh, try to do something nice. So I was at my course and I was like, you know what? This isn't a dangerous hole. I'm just going to throw it. It's a dead straight tunnel shot, row pines, 300 feet. And I put it like 20 feet away from the pin. And I was like, what is this disc?
That's the hole the Squall was built for sure.
Squall. It was a DGA Squall, Casey Trudeau stamp on it. And I got back with him. I was like, hey, man, do you want your disc back? He was like, dude, I've been dying to get that disc back. So I mailed it back to him because that's the right thing to do.
Casey's stamp is really sick. I actually don't have a Casey Trudeau disc. I need to get one. I love his stamp. It's really sick.
I've got 2 Titanics with his stamp on them. Shout out.
Oh, nice.
All black Titanic. Oh, they're fresh.
Yeah.
I've got this Scorpion stamp. And then I have the latest, I can't remember. I think this year had like a possum mixed with something because he's a big possum fan.
Yeah, that sounds right. Last year was like a skull or something. And then this year was some sort of a possum hanging on to something.
Whaling cool. It's on certain parts of the world, but in America, you got to be kind of patriotic. I think eagle is the right move. Plus, whaling is so frowned upon now. It's all about preserving them since they're endangered and stuff.
But I have one question for you, Tyler.
Hit me.
What's your PDGA number?
122365. Never been more sad that I didn't understand how. So here's the story. I got serious about disc golf when they were in the 75, 80,000 range. And I started playing around then. I got serious about it. I looked into PDGA membership when it was still under 100. It was like 90,000. And at that time, even at the beginning, I knew that like your PDGA number being under, like it would be cool to have one under 100,000. But I didn't know and I don't know why I thought this, but just at the time I wasn't familiar enough with how it worked. I thought that like you had to keep paying for that number or else you would lose it. It would go to somebody else. So I didn't know that like once you reserve a number, like you have it forever, because I was thinking like, well, I mean, yeah, I guess I could get a number, but I don't even know if I'm going to play tournaments and like how long I'll play disc golf. We'll just see how it goes. So yeah, it was 120,000 the second that I heard that like that number is yours forever, I went like the next minute and got mine locked down. And I've always felt so bad that just because I didn't understand how it worked, that I missed out on my number being like 90,000 or something.
So we probably started playing around the same time.
Yeah.
Because I found out about disc golf. One of my buddies, like, we're super competitive. Everything we do, we're trying to beat each other. He's like, hey man, I started playing this thing called disc golf, because we both play golf. And I was like, disc golf, what is it? He's like, it's the same thing as golf, but you throw frisbees. And I was like, all right, it's Saturday.
$50 every time you play.
Yeah, I was like, how much is it to play? Nothing. I was like, all right, it's Saturday. I have nothing to do. Let's give it a run. And we played, and I shot plus 24 on a course called Sasquatch.
Okay.
And God, I don't want to say this wrong. It's at Lake Mayo in Person County, North Carolina. I don't want to get butchered, but it's a really good course. It's a really good course. It's just kind of off the beaten path. If you went and played it, you'd be like, this course is insane. But so we went and played the first time, and he beat my butt. And I was like, all right. And then he invited me one more time, and I was like, all right, this is going to end up being a thing. And I shot a lot better the second time. So I got a basket and got a putter. And me and that basket and that putter were best friends for a week. And the next time me and him went to play, I beat his ass. And I hope I can post that on YouTube, but that's what I did. He was like, what did you do? I was like, I learned how to putt, because I would be 12 feet out. And just, I've never, to this day, it doesn't know it like I could be 12 feet out, and it just boggles me how I'm like 12 feet out. Then just like, it felt like the basket went.
Yeah.
I guess it's because it was something on the line, I guess,
Yeah. When you're just starting out, if you can make a putt inside 15 feet, like you'll beat everybody. You'll beat anybody who's played for less than a year, if you can make a putt inside 15 feet. I played for probably, I want to say 13 years. It's 2009, I guess.
Oh, then you got me for a long time. I'm like 2015. But my number is 78804. That's why I thought we were around the same time.
Could have been, man. Could have been. If only I had gotten the bug as strong as you had when you started.
When I found out about tournaments, it was a tournament at that actual course, Sasquatch. I found out about it, and I was like, okay, it's a PDGA tournament. And then it was like, you have to pay $10 extra to play.
Yeah, right.
And I looked down the schedule at things in my area. So I'm kind of like around the triangle of North Carolina, Durham, Cary, Raleigh. I was like, man, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. I'm going to go ahead and get a PDGA membership just to save me some money. And it saved me a bunch of money that year, because I ended up playing enough events where it would have saved me the money.
You're with Another Round Disc Golf. Yeah, that's by you.
I think that's in Charlotte, but it is within like 2.5 hours of me.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking
Joseph.
about.
Yeah. I recently met him, and he was an awesome guy. I've really enjoyed following their Instagram channel. They put a bunch of funny videos up. Speaking of, tell me about your channel, because we just met a few minutes ago, but you said that you're making some content, and what kind of stuff are you doing, or what are you trying to do?
So it's Disc Golf David, but I'm trying to interview players. Obviously everybody's interviewing players, but I'm trying to interview course owners also. I'm trying to interview people who put on the events, people who took their minds and a piece of land, and they just kind of molded it and made a disc golf course, and just, what came, how did you do it? What was the struggle? Did you have a lot of volunteers? Was it a lot by yourself and then people came along? I built my own course out on my property this past year and I really enjoyed it, but I'm just curious.
How many acres do you have?
I have 13.92, but probably 13 acres is dedicated to the course. And it's fairly wooded. It's only 4,200 feet from the longs, but it is a rough and tumble 4,200 feet. Like I have a five down is the long
Yeah, so
record.
a lot of trouble you can get into and pretty technical shots.
I mean, it's fair. It is fair shots, but yeah, it's technical. You got to lace your lines. There's some trouble to get into. I've tried to get the thorns out. We've been working really hard, but we also have a public course here at the Granville Athletic Park. It's about 5 minutes away from here. I broke ground on that in 2016. We got 9 holes in, and they started building a new phase, and they just recently finished that phase. So now that the bulldozers and all the construction's done, and they built tennis courts and whole new park and all this, but there's woods going around it. We're putting the next 9 holes around that. So the incinerator will be 5 minutes away from my place, and that'll be an 18-hole course. And we're really excited because Oxford Disc Golf Club, we've come back into relevance here recently. We're looking on monthlies, jumping back and forth from courses, definitely doubles, definitely glow, all the fun stuff. We already have a couple, there's a local spot in town called The Hub, craft brews on tap, craft brews in can. They're really interested in doing something with a putting league. So things are really blowing up here.
Fun.
Things are blowing up here. And I mean, it's blowing up in Durham, Raleigh, Charlotte, Cary. The whole state's blowing up with disc golf. So
yeah,
I'm just fortunate to be here while it's blowing up, right in the middle of all of it.
So in the midst of that, there's a lot more interest. There's a lot more eyes on the sport. So have you always made videos, or are you like just now starting to kind of dip your toes in the water?
So I just started making videos in the beginning of December. I started making videos. Me and my buddy, Jeff Voris, shout out Jeff, and Alyssa and Kirsten, my wife, I get slapped in the face if I didn't say them. We all run a little thing called the North Carolina Homegrown Tour. And our stint on that is finishing up this year. So I wanted to put my energy and time into something else. We did that for the past 3 or 4 years. It's time to kind of move on. And I want to try to grow the sport as much as possible. That's really all I want to do. It's all I've been trying to do here. And honestly, I put 9 holes in 4 years ago, and it is insane. I thought like 2 or 3 people would be out here playing. I went out there the other day. There's snow on the ground. We don't get much snow up here in the Pede. I mean, we get some snow. It's not a whole bunch, but there's snow on the ground. And I'll give my folks some props because not many people venture out in the snow. And I saw people out there throwing. And I was like, gosh, if it wasn't about to get dark, I'd be throwing with you.
Is your course open to public play, or is it just at your house?
My course is a private course. I'm on UDisc. You can contact me.
Okay.
And
nice.
And it's just contact me. You're more than welcome to come out and play. I accept donations. You don't really have to give donations, but at the Granville Athletic Park right now, there's 12 holes in. We actually just put 3 holes in and finished them up 2 weeks ago. That's public course. You can come out and play that whenever you want. It's free.
Yeah.
Just get out there, throw some discs.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's the dream. We just moved to Kansas City and we have 4 acres, and 2 of them are like hills and yard, and then 2 of them are just intense trees, just scrub brush, and can't even walk in it, But
Sounds
I'm like
an awesome little 3-hole course though.
That's the thought. Like I was thinking when we moved in that I think I'll put 6 small-ish holes on this. And then believe it or not, I think it's pretty elevated, even for, Kansas. The hills are pretty steep. So we've actually got 9 holes, even just in this first 2 acres, that the best that somebody's done, I think, is 2 under on those, which I love that you use that as kind of an indicator, because it's like, if you're not shooting, if it's a short 9 holes, you're like, I'm going to shoot 7 under or something like that. But they're actually we're putting mandos in and the elevation up and down. And then there's a lot of trees in the yard. So I'm like, interesting. So without even using those back 2 acres, we've got 9 pretty fun holes. I wonder, if you could do more. I would do like 9 bigger holes, I think. But that's the dream. I can't even imagine having more than 10 acres and a, place to play around and put disc golf on would be so fun. Hey, National Disc Golf Day is tomorrow.
That's a winner right there.
I got like a little fun 159 foot, 22 foot elevation shot to a raised basket, OB 10 feet right behind it on defense.
That's awesome.
I call it the bounty. I pay you
Okay.
$50 cash for an ace.
Ever had to pay it?
Once.
Yeah.
I actually had to pay it recently. I had to pay it this year. It was at a fundraiser tournament for a great man named Kent Robertson. He built a course out in Farmville, and someone hit it at that tournament, and he just donated it back to the fundraiser, and they're doing good things out there. But yeah, one person, I never expected anyone to hit it, but we were playing doubles, and I kind of was parked there, and he just looked at me and my wife. He said, "I'm about to ace this." And we were like, I just kind of looked back and just kept having the conversation I was having. Then when I saw it leave his hand, I took a step over, like, and he was my partner too. So obviously I celebrated like I hit it because I got the ace on my card.
Yeah.
I never expected anyone to hit it, but it was full send, dead straight.
That's awesome.
The whole way.
That's great.
What made you want to start creating videos?
Oh man, great question. I guess I'd probably have to go quickly back to being one of 8 kids and homeschooled and no like TV to speak of, like in terms of like watching Hey Arnold and Rugrats and that kind of stuff.
So you're your own entertainment, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And we lived in the country. So I didn't have disc in my life at that time, but yeah, we were outdoors a lot playing things. And then we would watch old movies. Like my dad would bring home rented tapes of like old movies. And when I say old movies, I mean like Charlie Chaplin, like silent films.
Okay. I was going to say Footloose, but wow, that's pushing.
No, like old, like that would be like a new movie. Yeah. Footloose. Yeah. No, like black and white, like old comedies and stuff. And so then me and my siblings would like memorize those because we just watched those movies over and over, right? So we didn't have like new channels to watch new things with. So we pretty much had them all memorized. And then I was the one who was always reciting them back to the other siblings and doing the accents and trying to make everybody laugh. So we've always had camcorders too, because what Kansas homeschool family doesn't want to document like every trip to the park and every new like birthday, just like, and then mom, the camera's been on for 30 minutes while you set it down. But I got the job of doing that most of the time because I just had an app, like an inclination to be able to use the camera and even edit the tapes and stuff. So we started making commercials when I was little. And that was really the beginning of the end, honestly, because every single moment through school, high school, college, every job that I've ever had, even up to now, video, like creating video and coming up with ideas. Honestly, that was a big part of I brought that into everything is what I was trying to say. But then now as I'm like processing it to you, it almost feels bigger than that. Like I feel like it's kind of just how I see the world now, like, and if you make videos, you can probably relate where when you're out just doing stuff and somebody says something, just the first thing you think of is what that would look like in a video, like, or if we have a new product or if we need to tell people something, the way that my brain processes all that is, if I were making a video about this, what would that look like? Or what if this guy walked in and he had 150 disc names memorized, and he said them all in one take, what if
That
all
was,
of those.
I watched that again tonight and I was like, I mean, like, I'm just watching it and I'm hearing disc names that I've heard of. I've never seen the actual disc, but I've heard of it. And you're just hitting like every single one of my hits in my bag.
It was, that's a great example though, that project, because
ironically, I was going to ask you, how long did that take to put together? That was I had a little list. I was on it.
That's the second one that I've done now. And after the first one last year, I told myself I'm never doing a project like that again.
Was that the disc golf names disc? The disc golf names?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So last like Christmas, I had 100 disc golfers' names in like a pun, like in pun form. And it was a great idea that it wasn't mine. It was just me reinterpreting this idea. There's a hunting channel called Catching Deers. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have not.
They are so funny, and they do a bunch of different. They're kind of just a brand. They don't even sell anything, but they just put their name now on shirts and hats and everything else. But he wrote the greatest hunting story ever told, and where it's just him in a boat and he's just fishing, and he just does. It wasn't as long as ours. It was probably a couple minutes though of him just saying famous hunters' names like that. So I was like, I should do that for disc golf. And it just totally got out of control, like really fast. I'm like, I can't exclude this person and that person and this person, so all of a sudden the list was over 100 names. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like 5 minutes long. I can't
exclude this person because he's on tour this year. He's touring. I can't exclude this person because he's a world champion.
Because they're a legend.
It just, I can see where that gets very difficult.
And of course, wouldn't you know it, after the project's done, since then, for the last year, I just every month or so realize somebody that I missed, like McCabe. There's probably at least 6 or 7 names of like current people
there's no way you don't miss people though. It was rough. I mean, if you set someone down, you're like, even like someone who's played disc golf for like 15 years, you're like, name 100 disc golfers. Here's a pen, here's a piece of paper. You have 1 hour. Go.
Right.
Right. Like I bet they get hard. 50. But it's just because you're thinking about it. You're under the pressure. You're like, I've thought about it, now I got to incorporate it.
Yep. Yeah, I think that one was harder, honestly. This one had 150 disc names.
This one seemed effortless, kind of like you seemed like you were just rolling through them easier a little bit. Like the story played out easier.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to take a word that's already like a thing and incorporate it into a story than take somebody's name and try and make it into a pun, and then put a bunch of those together. So I wrote this one too. I kind of crowdsourced the script on this one, which I've done that now maybe 3 times. Those are always really fun projects where, like, so the people in my Discord server, right? I'm like, hey, here's a Google Doc. Here's my start. What do you guys think? Hit me up.
What the?
Do you remember your first disc that was put into your hands or that you purchased and was your disc?
I remember my first disc. I have my first DGA disc right there.
And that was my second question. What was your first DGA disc?
So,
is that the Titanic?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I saw that post recently.
So this is, look how it's not even dirt. That's actually dye, because I tried to dye it at one point since it was like the old disc I had laying around and just didn't do it right. And it's just stained now. But this was bright white at first, like 10 or 11 years ago.
I thought it was.
And I bought it as part of a wholesale order. Because I got so hooked on discs after I bought my first Comet, which was my first disc that I ever bought. Eric McCabe helped pick it out. So we had come from Kansas City, and my brother-in-law introduced me and my father-in-law to disc golf. We're headed back to Wichita. I'm not with him, I'm with my wife, but I was like, I wonder if there's a place on the way we could stop and buy a disc, because I want to buy one so I have one to play myself. And so I Googled it and I'm like, oh, there's a disc golf store in Emporia. Let's stop and see. And there's this little tiny disc golf shop called Dynamic Discs. And I'm like, that's really cool. What do I need to buy? This redheaded guy's helping me around the store and like telling me what to get and whatnot. And
don't tell me it was Zach Melton.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't.
Like...
He was super helpful and super nice. He led me to a Comet. Ultimately, Dynamic didn't even have discs back then of their own.
Oh, okay.
And so as I'm buying it, there's all these pictures of him on the wall and like trophies and stuff. And I'm like, wait, are those you? And he's like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, that says world champion. And he's like, yeah, that was back in 2010. And I was like, wow, so you like won the disc golf world championships? And he's like, yeah. So it was Eric McCabe, and he was just hanging out at the shop, but he was just as content to just take a brand new guy around the store and like, tell him what discs he's looking for and stuff.
I mean, if you're going to get any better opinion on a disc.
Totally. No, he signed it. I should have kept it, dude, but he signed it. So there's always, and Rusco is there, because at that time it was like Rusco and like one other person running it. It really was just this tiny little thing. And so now that they've like blown up and everything.
TrueDisc Pro allows you to get honest advice from the AI pro of your choice.
Hey, Eric, should I throw a felon here?
Felons are awesome!
Well, yeah, but I mean, is it the right disc for the shop?
Felons are awesome!
All right!
It's been cool to kind of see their growth. And like at one point they were just like a room, selling other people's discs. And that's where I bought my first one, was their retail shop in Emporia. But it was only a year or so after that I started wholesaling and got into it huge. And then I've just been a big nerd about it for like 10 years. And it was one of those funny videos, one of those commentary videos that eventually got me a call from Scott Kesey at DGA, because he had seen the funny video. And then he started looking at the other stuff I was doing on Facebook and like actual marketing stuff, and different blogs that I'd written, and just kind of my thoughts about branding and stuff like that. So we gelled. We had a lot in common for sure. Got on the phone and just could talk for hours, just about DGA, about disc golf, about what he wanted to do with the brand and what I wanted to do with my career, and I did part-time work for them for just a minute, but it went into full-time pretty quickly. And that's been like, I guess June would be 3 years. So it's been over 2.5 years full-time with DGA. And man, we've worked so hard, and like, it is so rewarding for me as one of the guys who's just kind of grinding, they all are, but I'm the one who's kind of grinding to get us seen. They're grinding to make like awesome products and to get them shipped out everywhere, to
like
set up new retailers.
There's three grinders: the guys at the factory trying to push the product out, then you got the guys on tour just trying to get the Max. The guys he's just going to keep going around, man. Then the guys on tour, they're just grinding to get the name out there, and then you got you're just grinding to put out some sweet content.
Totally. And so it's so rewarding to see like people start to say DGA without us, like for people to start saying Quake's my favorite disc, and what manufacturer do you think has the best fairway? And somebody says the DGA pipeline, and like those conversations weren't really happening a few years ago, even though the discs were still just as awesome. It's like there's this kind of foundation that we've built, for the brand. And so it's just like looking forward to 2022. We've got Andrew Marweed now, it's like, I just could not be more excited about looking to this year. Cause I feel like this is going to be the year where people are like, DGA, aren't they that company that used to make the Mach 3 or something? And their buddy's like, no, dude,
So
they're sick.
They got some sweet baskets.
Got some sweet baskets. Like,
And
look,
that's what I always
3/4
used
of
to
my
think.
bag is, yeah, exactly.
And then I met Casey and he kept pushing it on me, and I was like, all right, I'll try one. All right, I'll try two. And now I'm like, nope, I'm out there like,
Dude, I've seen that.
scoping out. I like to scope eBay out and find the cheapest discs as possible.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
get it for like $7-8. And then if I don't like it, I just give it to someone else. And I'm like, here, I hope
Yeah.
you know this might be the thing for you.
Yeah. I have seen that happen to so many people over the last couple of years. Like, okay, I guess I'll try a DGA disc, which one? And I'll say, the Pipeline would be a great start. And then it's just like 3 weeks later, they're in my DMs. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's the most amazing disc that I've ever had in my life. What else should I try? Maybe it's a Quake, Squall, Rift, and then it just kind of like takes over. DGA is like an invasive disease. I kind of workshop that as our official slogan, but they shot it down.
That's a good description because
Yeah.
I got Casey gave me the Quake and I already had the sale. And I was like, I know this is DGA. I don't know what it is. And then I threw it one time and I'd like called Casey immediately. I was like, this is what it's looking like. I sent him the profile of the disc and everything. He was like, oh, it's a sale. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, all right, do you have any? Yeah, I got one. He sent me another one. And my buddy Adam, he was up in Tennessee. Zach Melton and Dickerson was actually, I don't know the disc golf shop that he was at, but he was like, they were there and he was super excited. They signed some disc for him. And while he was there, I was like, hey man, while you're there, do they have any DGA stuff? Like, I've been looking for a Squall since I mailed my buddy Steb his Squall back.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, they got some Squalls. They got these gray ones that are swirly, and they got one that looks like a Tiger King disc. And I was like, get them both. Get them both.
A tiger. I want to see that. Tiger King Squall.
It is a tiger print, like a normal, normal stamp Squall. It just looked,
yeah.
I go grab it. It's right in my truck. It's right there.
I would love to see it because I want to see a Tiger King Squall.
The last time I paid this much money for a backpack, it was filled with drugs.
Whoa, what?
It's a Casey Trudeau Scorpion sale.
I can't quite make it out. Oh no, I can see. I remember the Scorpion. Yeah. You might actually have to hold it back farther to see it better, which is kind of ironic because it'll focus on it.
I'm on my laptop, my camera.
That's awesome.
It is a sweet rainbow stamp.
So is that an LE Flex sale? Does it say on the sticker?
So it's SP. It's the SP.
That's
sale.
an SP sale. Man, that thing is beautiful. Yeah.
And the one that got me into it, just sitting in one of my bins, hanging out.
Wait, that's a cool stamp. I've never seen that.
This is the Heritage Farm Chingin Strings 2021 stamp. Me and my buddy Jeff, we ran this event for a guy named John out in Boone, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Amazing course. Oh, beautiful course. Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a mountain course. You got ups, you got downs, you got fours, you got fives.
So important to have a sale for those uphill shots.
But for what we have.
Ooh.
The Tiger King Squall.
Okay. Thank you so much, because the first two that you showed me, I was like, wait, that doesn't look like a Tiger King disc.
No,
I forgot it was a Squall.
Yep. He sent me a picture. He's like, it's Tiger King. That's all I see when I see this disc.
Okay, twist it back the other way because it shows yeah. You can see the print so much better right there. That's sick, dude.
It is.
I love that.
Yeah, he got me this one. And then honestly,
That's awesome.
This D line,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
this is my favorite.
If you want to, if the people watching want the straightest of straight mid ranges of all time, that's it right there.
This is new out of the box. I have an injured finger right now, so
Uh-huh.
I'm throwing backhands like this, and
Yeah.
this bad boy still goes straight.
Still
And
goes straight.
I don't have the extra. You'd be surprised how much zip you miss with that one extra finger. But
I'll
this
bet.
thing's
Yeah.
still going straight.
Especially that finger,
Yeah, the main
not
one.
having like because
6
that's
days.
the last point of contact for most of us.
6 more days and this bad boy's gone.
That'd be fascinating actually to try around without that finger.
It is interesting, especially because when I started throwing forehands, I threw with one finger. And I threw tomahawks with one finger and I threw forehands with one finger. And it's just something I'd never really watched a tutorial or anything on. So I just thought it was normal.
Yeah.
And then one day, 3 years later, I watched a tutorial and a guy's like, you're supposed to use 2 fingers. You're supposed to do this and that. And I'm like, oh no, I've been doing it the wrong way the whole time.
Hey, listen, Marweed's a single finger sidearm guy.
I talked to a couple of professionals that I know, Jeb being one of them, another guy. I'm not going to say his government name. I'm going to say his nickname is Trash Baby. It's a very odd nickname, but
Okay.
he was like, hey man, you're throwing 350, 400 sidearm with one finger. Why are you going to change it?
Yeah,
and
it's working.
Like, all right, cool.
Totally.
But I don't know if I injured it on building the course last year or if I injured it on throwing.
Excuse me.
So just in chance, I've started throwing with 2 fingers.
Oh, okay.
So I don't hurt my finger again.
Has it changed your throw much?
It right now I'm still getting used to it. So I turn it over more than I'd like to, because when I started throwing, I practiced on throwing dead straight, and I'm right-handed, so it would fade off to the right. So that was like my big thing. I just wanted to go straight and right. I didn't want any. And then after a long time, I was like, I'll learn how to throw a little fade on it and get the full flight. But right now I'm rolling my wrist just because the extra finger. But it's a work in progress. It's getting better as I play.
It's a great game, isn't it? You can play it with a large amount of different abilities or ages or anything, and play it all sorts of different weather and different places around the country. It's just crazy how
you can go to one course and a 50-year-old and a 20-year-old are on par to shoot the same score, because it's all technical, little long golf. And then you can go to another course and it's like, all right, limber backs only. 500 feet throwing.
Yeah, that's how I feel like here at Waterworks here in Kansas City. And there's a couple other courses where I'm just like, I'm tired, coming up hole 16 or something. I'm like, I need to be in a little bit better physical condition to be able to play this course.
I used to watch Winthrop and be like, oh, tear that place up.
Yeah.
I got the privilege to go out there and play one year. Hole 13, I'm like, I am spent. This place is way harder than it really shows on TV.
Totally.
Like,
I've never got to play a whole round, but I'll tell you my Winthrop story was that I got to go there with Yuli and a couple other guys. So Paul Uliberry. So we're standing on, I think we started on hole 3. And we'd never played together before. He's kind of sizing me up, trying to, like how good I'm like, I'm super good. He's like, I'll bet I could beat you left-handed. And I'm like, no, dude, I've been playing this game for like over 10 years. He's like, no, I'm going to play left-handed. I'm going to beat you. I was like, I'll bet you $20. He's like, easy. So we only had time to play 6 holes before it got dark, but it was very close. And I missed a 15-foot putt. Dude, he got in my head. Yuli's a great competitor. He's also one of the best, like, ambidextrous disc golfers that I've ever seen. Like, he was not bad
to compete left-handed.
Totally. totally. And at Winthrop, right? To not be throwing it into the pond every other shot.
I had
And
tendonitis in my right elbow for 6
uh-huh.
months, and the doctor said not to throw right. So I threw left-handed for 6 months.
Oh yeah.
It is not that easy. Even though you're like, oh yeah, you just do no.
He made it look easy.
It was,
And I was so frustrated, but he did end up beating me, and he will probably never let me live that down. But I say it's because he had local knowledge. He plays that course all the time.
at
I'd
least
never
once a
played it
year.
before.
At least once a year.
Yeah.
At
No,
the bare minimum.
at the bare minimum. Yeah, for sure. But I'm sure that's the only reason that he was able to take me that day.
So I do have one question. The Australian, I like the wily Australian. He'll say
Where did
whatever
that come from?
he'll say
Yeah.
whatever he prefers. Like, was that just something you made up, or was that like someone that you knew in the past and you were like just kind of emulating him? But after kind of hearing your grow up story, I think it's just someone you kind of made up.
Yeah, when that first night, I wanted to start making some funny videos when I turned 30. I was just like, I'm just going to start making some funny videos on my channel. And it was like 11:30 at night, and Ian Anderson posted a commentary-less video of Worlds. And I was thinking, like, people are going to be searching for Worlds, so maybe I could download it and put my own funny commentary on it and people would see it. So I like got dressed, went back to my office, which was across town at the time. And it's like 12:30 before I'm recording. And I did the first 5 holes in a Russian accent. And I'm recording this guy like, yes, so this is Richard Wysocki is throwing this shot. I don't know how you Americans say like Endheiser backhand shot or some. I don't know. It's weird game to me. And I'm doing that for 5 holes. And I'm listening back to it a little bit, and I'm like, it's just not funny. Like it's kind of an inherent,
like you're laughing, but no one else is laughing.
Yeah, that's what it would have been. And so I'm like, I should try something stereotypically funny, like, Cockney English or Australian. And I'm like, well, I can do Australian. And I wanted it to be something I didn't have to think about a lot, So I erased those first 5 holes and started over with an Australian accent. And my Australian accent's super bad. I've gotten to know some Australian people now because of that accent over the last couple of years, who are like, it's really bad. They're like, it's somewhere between South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia, but it's none of any of them. It's overall it's pretty bad, but it's uniquely yours, and you should keep doing it. So that's kind of the origin of it. And then I have listened back to some of those earlier ones, and the accent has gotten a lot better since then. Those first ones were pretty bad.
I thought they were quite funny, honestly. I would enjoy doing a commentary with that gentleman in the future. I think that'd be fun. It's
interesting how, like, my normal, like when I'm just talking to you and we're just hanging out, like, and this is how I play disc golf too. It's like, honestly, not really like a clown, like we're just kind of hanging out and it's pretty chill. But when I get into character as that guy, it's everything really does change. It is kind of funny how he's a lot more sarcastic and like, he's definitely a clown, but he's like kind of mean, and like so full of himself. And so it's a funny like alter ego to have.
I think it's hilarious because kind of out here with like when I play with my personal friends, we're just playing around together somewhere. I mean, it's like you hit the first tree, someone's like, great job. That was a great shot.
Yeah.
You want to throw another one so I can film it for you? It's
like why would you
just straight shot,
you hit the tree?
Shots the whole round. Like one of the course I built at the public park, they have a sound garden. And it's just a bunch of cool things, like a bunch of mallets. You just go around,
wind chimes type things,
wind chimes, like little flowers that make different noises. Like There's all kinds of things to hit. I honestly put one of the T-pads directly beside it on purpose. Because I was like, I just want some little kids to be out here one day when we're having dubs. It's like, man, this little 4-year-old girl razzed me. It's like, it's not my fault. Not my fault. A 4-year-old razzed you. All right.
That's amazing. Like, if anybody's, it's yours. No, I love that. The sound garden by the disc golf course. I'm going to start thinking of my house as less chaotic hellstorm of 4 small kids and just reinterpret it as a sound garden. Like, I have my own like in-house sound garden here, that I have 4 tiny curators of. That's a much more hopeful way to look at it.
You've got 4 little ones. I have no little ones. How do you find
want
the
some?
time to do so much? Because I
Like,
barely have time to do anything, and you've got 4
listen,
little
send
ones.
me your
and you got-
shipping address. We will figure this out. I've got a lot.
Kirsten, you want some kids? Telepathically, she said maybe.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say it's
Yeah.
no right now.
It's hard. And it's definitely like, it definitely is a choice to have to not make content sometimes. Like, there's always ideas, and luckily that's something I've never really struggled with. Never like the struggle between prioritizing the family or content. It's always been, it's just kind of obvious that like, no, it's like your family, like the people in your house, like this is like job number 1, and then you have job number 2, which is DGA. And then job number 3 is kind of like, if you have time, you can make some fun stuff. So it's never really been about like finding the time. It's more always been like taking advantage of those gaps when Molly has all 4 of them at the library for 2 hours. I'm like, oh, I could do that skit that I've always got a Word doc or a Google Doc on my computer and a note on my phone where I'm always putting in ideas. And at any given time, there's 10 sketches that could be made, but just looking for moments and opportunities to do those.
Now, when I think of things, I do the same. I write them down, and then when I get home, I'm kind of running by my wife. Or is there anyone that you run your stuff by to see like,
yeah,
hey,
totally.
is this just a really bad idea, or is this kind of like pretty good? I don't know.
Molly is super funny. My wife Molly is like just amazingly funny, and I love being able to run stuff by her because she knows what's funny and what's not. And we've done this, she's seen me make stuff forever. But what's been a cool development over the last year is this community now that I have with Disc Golf Comedy or Tyler Brickley and Friends on Patreon and then on Discord, where I can interact with these people every day and just be like, hey, what about this sketch? What do you guys think of this? I'll start a script. You can all, throw in your thoughts. And then more than anything, that other people will say, hey, like I just had a guy message me today. I had a sketch idea about the Disc Golf Pro Tour cameraman, and he tells me his idea, and so ideas are everywhere. And if I ever get an opportunity to do a video with a pro, they're like, what are we going to do? I'm like, that's the easy part. The hard part is just finding 30 minutes to get together, but figuring out something that will entertain people, like that's the easy part. Ideas are a dime a dozen. You just have to find some time to make them happen.
Beer drinkers are the problem with everything in this country. Now they've canceled the tour and I can't hang out with that Sexton. And I don't know what I'm going to do now. My brand is going to suffer.
Let me finish. I'll finish that whole thing and wrap it up with saying that someday I would love nothing more than that to be my job. Like to be my, job number 1, family, job number 2, like the main source of income for us, to just have like a sketch comedy channel on YouTube or be a writer for some, sitcom. Or
what year did you and DGA partner up? I think you said it earlier.
Yeah, full time for over a couple years. Sometime in 2019, I think summer of 2019 is when we really started working together. 2020 proposed a bunch of, like, hey, like let's get this thing going. Like, let's do this on Facebook and change the logo to this and start that and do this on YouTube and let me this, that, and the other thing. And it's crazy how, I mean, we've been in business for 44 years. DGA has the first disc golf company, like that's just so wild. Welcome back to DGC News, the home of disc golf news and updates and the neighbor of Greg and Karen.
And what was the color and mold, sir?
It was a green Innova Champion Groove, and I threw it near the pond on Hello?
No one makes better baskets.
Dude, I can't even start talking to you about the Mach 7 or the Mach X, really, for that matter, because I've done 3D models of both of
the
what?
Mach X. I love it.
Love the Mach X. So I've done 3D models of both of those baskets at this point. And so, you know how like you learn somebody's face if you draw them, it's like an intimate experience. Well, this is like 3D sculpting every single strand, and where they all come together and the basket and the chain hanger and all that stuff. So it's like.
Did you do this on a computer?
Uh-huh.
Rendered it 3D on a computer?
Totally. Yeah. The Mach X video isn't done. You can see some examples of the 3D Mach 7. Anyway, my point in that is like, I know those baskets now. You know what I mean? Like I know all the strands and how they all work. And I putt on them and I putt on other baskets, and it's just crazy how similar, right? It's crazy how similar a Mach 7 is to a veteran or to a disc catcher. And yet it is twice the basket. And I feel like I'm so confident in saying that too, because the amount of times that I release a putt towards a Mach 7 and you get that internal, like, dang it, like I'm weak side or too high, whatever, and just still catches and finds its way to the bottom of the basket. Every single time that happens, I'm like, oh, that's right. It's the Mach 7. What was I worried about? And the X speaks for itself. The X is just such a great catching basket.
I thank you for sitting down with me tonight, doing this interview. This is Disc Golf David. Please like and subscribe. This is Tyler Brickley. I don't know if I'm pointing at the right side. I wasn't the other night. Someone do this. He's over
Thanks
here.
for having me,
there.
dude. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hey, sub to David's channel. Make sure and support the stuff he's doing. You're going to have to eliminate some relationships. Here's the thing. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but if you actually want to make it, if you want to succeed in the interview business, you are going to have to fire some people from your life. So I don't know if that's wife, aunt, grandma, lunch lady. I don't know who's in your house right now, but they got to go. Or they definitely got to respect your space, because listen, you are at work. Okay, you are at work right now. And like, they got to understand that this is your job. Okay. And they just can't come barging in.
Introducing the DGA Hole. The DGA Hole has been in underground development for over 17 years.
So do you want to play disc golf sometime? Listen, I'm probably just going to get back to robbing your house now, so... Okay, then maybe after? Here's Ricky Wysocki. He's touching his bum. I don't know. Oh, there it is again. That's weird. It's weird. Call him Freaky Wysocki. It's still going, though. It stood up on its side like a Jeremy Calling Instagram video, and it's rolling away. You can't trick me into saying it. Hey, what are you talking about? I'm not trying to do anything. Listen, I'm not going to say underwear! Find out all about us and our friendship. Could we? I'm just gonna
get in there, man. That's enough. That's enough for
me.
Me.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it's enough for me too. Let's just call it. Because like a ball, this can fly, bounce, roll, and spin. But it's way more fun to play this game. The most fun wins.